Hello, welcome to another edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Right off the bat on today's show, big kudos to the Ford Motor Company for building 10 million Ford Mustangs. Yes, you heard me right. This has been rumored over the past several weeks that this actually took place, and Ford made it official the day of the taping of this particular program. Now, the trick is, this is also a record that may never be beat because they've already owned a record, that being Mustang. Mustang's selling 1 million units quicker than any other vehicle anywhere sold around the world. And that's a record that'll probably never be beaten. Possibly this 10 million units will never be beaten as well. This is an impressive feat, especially figuring that 1 million units way back in the mid-60s down into the 70s. That was an impressive feat, to say the least. There was no internet, very little television. A lot of word and mouth actually got these vehicles sold. It was lightning in a bottle like we'll never, ever see again. So again, big congratulations to the Ford Motor Company, especially being one of those vehicles, that being the Mustang, never taking that old leave of absence, much like the Camaro and Challenger did back in the day. So big kudos to Mustang. We'll be seeing a lot more about this 10 million units very, very soon. Speaking of a leave of absence, looks like NASCAR CEO Brian France is going to be taking a leave of absence. You may have seen in and around the old interwebs over the past several days, Mr. France got in a little bit of trouble earlier, or I guess should say late last weekend, in upstate New York, where he got pulled over by a police officer, was found to be driving under the influence, also was in possession of a controlled substance, which now is a situation where he has stepped down, taking a leave of absence in the sight of all these charges. Trick is, this is innocent before proven guilty, so there could be something coming out very quickly about this deal. But if he does end up being guilty, I'm assuming this leave of absence will be permanent, because there's no way you can go wagging your finger at any driver, team owner, or even pit crew member for doing anything like this type of deal when you've done it yourself. So in the meantime, Jim France, which is actually the uncle of Brian France here. Brian France, actually the grandson of Big Bill France, who actually started NASCAR back in the day. So Jim France will be at the helm over the next several months, and there'll be a lot of talk of who could take over Brian France should he not be able to continue on as CEO. Next up on the list, well, this is an interesting little story involving the fellow by the name of Steve McQueen. Steve McQueen owned a Ferrari Sued way back in the day. It had an interesting color. This vehicle was brown. I know it's black and white photograph. You can't really tell from this photo. But the thing was actually brown. Well, remember back in 2017 when Ferrari was celebrating its 70th anniversary and they did all those special edition colors, like called the Schumacher or the Moss for Sterling Moss or Michael Schumacher? Well, they did a brown GTC for Lusso that was actually in name of the actor called the McQueen. Well, the trick is Ferrari and FCA technically didn't clear it with the McQueen family, which now the McQueen family actually got a hold of this information, and there's now a lawsuit. Of course, quickly Ferrari fixed this problem. They now called it the actor, is actually what they end up calling the paint, but it's too little too late, and the McQueen family is suing Ferrari. I'm assuming there's really not a way for Ferrari to get out of this deal other than writing a very big check, so we'll definitely keep you in tune of what we hear. Next up on the list, well, there's a couple of people on this planet that just basically have to go to Twitter and it becomes national news. Obviously, one of them being the President of the United States, and obviously the other one being Elon Musk. Musk actually took to Twitter over the past several days claiming he's going to take Tesla private. Yes, you heard me right. The folks over at Tesla have been a publicly traded company on the stock market over the past several months. In fact, the stock doing exceptionally well, especially because the company hasn't been doing that very well. This being said, Tesla is this mega brand that can't do any wrong. You know, over the past several weeks, they actually built some sort of weirdo surfboard that sold out in like 10 minutes or something like that for an ungodly amount of money. Even though I think Tesla should probably focus a little more on actually making the car company actually make money instead of making, you know, skateboards and flamethrowers and whatever else they've been making over the past several months. Now, the trick is, too, there's a lot of people talking about what does this actually mean, because Tesla as a company doesn't have the capital to actually bring itself back to private. So there may be some sort of outside company, possibly from overseas, that could be taking a possible controlling interest in Tesla. So we'll definitely have to keep you in tune. But if you've watched my little clunky little program in the past several months, you've probably seen me bark on about, I'm thinking there's something coming down the pike that Mr. Musk has already heard. Some bad news from Tesla in some way, shape, or form, and this is going to be the smoke screen for that. So definitely tune into the next several episodes, because I may be proven right. Of course, I've been proven wrong on many different occasions. So we'll definitely keep you tuned to what we hear. And last up on the list, let's get to some more interesting news, because the folks over at Honda have done it again, taking over the front-wheel drive lap record around such circuits like the Nürburgring and Spa and Estoril, Silverstone, and even Magny-Cours. And now they've taken their old front-wheel drive turbocharged unit over to the Hungaroring, where it set a lap record of 2 minutes, 10.15 seconds in the hands of none other than the last ever Honda winner, at least in Formula One, around the Hungaroring. In fact, the last ever Honda win, period. Jenson Button, back in the mid-2000s, took the old BAR to the win around the Hungaroring. Mr. Button made a monster lap. I cannot believe that they threw him behind the wheel, even though he's a perfect choice for this particular situation. So I'm absolutely a huge fan of Jenson Button, huge fan of the Civic Type R, huge fan of Honda for doing this particular deal. It's going to be interesting to see just what exactly the next circuit is in their crosshairs, now that they've taken on every circuit that they've taken on so far, including the Hungaroring. If you want to check out the video, it's up on the Facebook page as we speak. And that's all there was that I thought was worth talking about for this edition of Motor Cars Enthusiast. Don't forget to like us over on the Facebook page. Links down in the show notes. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, you can do so at any time. The first dibs on the brand new shows as soon as they come out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon.